there's so much to say. The feelings, just still processing, still grieving. For those that do not know us, we're Becky plus
Becky
Eli.
Placilla, yeah.
Um, Married 7 years, been together for 11 years. We do content creation on every platform, and we love it so much so that we do it focus on theme park stuff. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about something that we kind of can't put over there because it's not it's not theme park related. It's us related. At the beginning of the year, my oldest uncle, may he rest in peace, he lost his fight to cancer, and we had a loss of a few other people like through this whole entire like last month.
Wait,
Um,
no, since last year, actually.
yeah,
Because
since
I
last year.
wanted to call this season the season of grief
Hmm.
because we've been going through a lot of losses. So it's been punch after punch, and it's increasingly getting more difficult. We lost our good friend Chris to cancer last year, and then we lost our pastor, our father, which I grew up knowing him for years, like 10 plus, no, even more than that.
Yeah.
Like he was like our father. He actually did my quinceañera mass, so it was a really hard thing, and Eli knew him
Yeah,
too.
it was the first when I moved out to back to the IE. When I started dating Becky, and we're going back to church out here.
Mm-hmm.
It was the father that received us at that church that we would go to visit at St. Anthony so often.
Mm-hmm.
A wonderful, wonderful, individual. Who I loved always his homilies, his theology, todo eso. And so, like Becky
he
said, we were going through.
he passed away.
Right, we it's one loss after the other. Like literally, this is during the holiday season. Then January hits. I lose my uncle. I lose another close friend, days apart. From uncle and friends group of like growing up. Like these are like the old timers that kind of like, yeah, you would hang out with your dad and like like your uncles y todo eso, and like it's these group of the old wise men, the old silly men that kind of shape you who you're meant to be or become, and saying goodbye to them, and it all cancer related, which is just like, oh, like you said, hit
Crazy.
after hit.
And then on top of that, my brother was also in the hospital, and we honestly didn't even know if he was gonna make it. And last year in October, in late October, like we spent Halloween at the hospital with my brother. And if you guys know us, we actually love Halloween. I love Halloween. So everything was just like a really heavy hit, and it was just a lot of uncertainty, which led to like a lot of like anxiety for myself and a lot of like lows in my life.
And mind you, like we said, we have the other theme park channel, and it's information based and fun based, and we do our very best to like create a safe and fun space for the community, our community over there.
Mm-hmm.
um
and
and
and we love showing up on a daily. We love showing up for our community.
because we understand, like,
Right. And so for us to like take a hiatus from social media for the length that we did has been really hard on us, or at least myself. I don't like being away like that for a really long time, and to just like not be there, it also hit me in a different way.
but most people and most of our community has been so kind to letting us know, like, take the time to grieve.
Mm-hmm.
We all grieve differently, and like I said, it's been like Becky said, it's a season of grief. We've had losses before. We've been able to bounce through it, like in a sense of go through it. You go through the emotions, todo.
Mm-hmm.
But what made this tough is that we had a loss that hits even closer to home than all those. So last year, oh man, we received. I received the most wonderful news. Becky received, well, must have been the most amazing news as well. Um, we were expecting a little one.
Yeah, so I ended up getting pregnant in the middle of December, which was a complete shock to both of us
Uh,
because
Becky's been battling health issues almost the whole entire time that I've known her, and so there's been complications in regards to being able to have children. We've been
well,
told.
no, there's no like complications because me and Eli have never tried to have children, but my primary doctor has always kind of told me, especially in the last year or two, that I had signs of infertility. So me and Eli kind of had it in mind, and we talked about not having children. Like I kept asking him like, are you okay with this? Like, um and it's really hard to talk about. Like if me and you cannot have children, like, are you gonna be fine with that? And like Eli always said, like, that's fine. Like, we're just gonna travel, and like I kind of like knew, like, okay, like if we never have children, then we're just gonna go travel. Like that's fine, and we'll have our dogs, and like, and I kind of had that picture of us, like, just doing that other life.
Yeah.
And then, so for me to get pregnant was like already like a miracle in itself. Like, it really was. Because like me and Eli were not expecting it, we were not planning it. And it was something that I always wanted, like deep down in my heart. Like,
Same.
I always wanted, like, to be a mom. And like, I was praying for that, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was praying, like, please Lord, like, give me a baby. So then when I ended up finding out, I was just like in total shock, because you're already conditioned and the doctors are telling you, like, you might not be able to get pregnant at all. And it's been years of him telling me that. So for me to even get pregnant was already like a miracle
It
for
was
me.
a huge blessing. We would always say, in God's time, God's timing is perfect. And so, I never wanted to put pressure on my wife to, like, oh, let's have a kid, let's make a baby. If it came, it came, and so be it. You already have enough health issues. There's already enough stresses in our lives. Like, why add more, right? And so, when Becky shared the news, it was.
It
I mean, it
was
was static, but it was
crazy.
crazy. It was
Yes.
crazy.
I was late already, but before then, me and Eli would kind of just be like, what if you're pregnant? What if you're pregnant? Like, those little conversations started.
You know how it goes, guys. Like, if your partner misses or is late by a day or two or whatnot, you're like, oh, here comes a little one. And it was never like a haha joke, but like a hopeful, wishful, like, haha, it'd be nice. And so this, like, I'm not even awake that morning that, like, you went ahead and told me, but like I'm trying to, like, wake
Well, let
up.
me tell
Oh
him.
no,
Let
go
me
for it,
tell
go
him.
for it.
So that it was a Sunday. I'm never gonna forget. And like, I had a really old pregnancy test, like really old, that like hidden somewhere in my drawer, and I knew where it was at. And I just, for some reason, was like, let me just take this test, because we had been talking about that. Let me just go ahead and take it. And lo and behold, it came out positive right away. Like, it was an instant plus sign. And when I saw it, I was like low key shaking, and I felt like my heart dropped. And I was like, no way. Like, this is so crazy. Like, I was so in shock. Like, I couldn't even be happy at that point. I was just more in shock. I was like, what? And then I go into our room, and I tell Eli, sit down. Okay, because he's getting ready. He's like
I was looking
making
for
the
my
bed.
bell.
He was like making the bed. He
I
was
was
like
trying to find my bell. I can never
ready,
find that
because
thing.
we're going to church, and we have all this whole entire day planned of going to like the theme parks and like doing our little errands and everything, and like we're go go go. So he's just like, oh yeah, like, let me sit down. And I'm like, okay, sit down, close your eyes, and put your hands, like, open up your hands like this. And like, he's always thinking like I'm low key gonna prank him, or
So
I don't know what he thought.
prior to all this, like we mentioned, we had a we have another channel. So when we started that channel, we started doing pranks and all this other stuff. So,
Mini, not crazy.
but still, yeah, a little bit of PTSD, I guess. But
Yeah.
but here I thought, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna do, as you said, a prank. But I'm still trusting it's my wife. I'm gonna go ahead and hold out my hands to do as she asks.
And
No
then,
worries.
so I put the pregnancy test in his hands, and I'm like, okay, open up your eyes. And then he's just like, you're pregnant? You're pregnant. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I think I am. Like, I don't know yet, because it's an old test. So we do have to retest. So it might be a false positive, or there is a possibility that I'm straight up pregnant.
No, yeah, it was like surprising, especially because she's like, because I was like, where'd you get a test? Because for the most part, like, we were always together. So like, I'm like, when did you pick this up? Like, what happened? And she's like, it's an old one. I'm like, well, how old? Because I'm like, I
No,
can't.
it's pretty old.
And yeah, so like, Becky's telling me this, and I'm like, all right, well, still good news, and so I'm elated, I'm happy.
And then after that, we go to church, and in the mass, in the homily, and in the announcements,
Bro.
there was so many signs there, like God confirming to us, and especially me, like, you're actually pregnant. Like, there was like an announcement that they needed baby clothes, formula,
Formula.
something about a baby shower, and those words were like sticking out to me, like, boom. And the
It
homily
was,
was about family,
yeah,
and
the
like,
secret family,
because
all
like
these things.
it
Yeah.
was leading up to Christmas,
Right,
so
right.
it was about, everything was like connected in a way. And I was just like, no way. Like, I knew, like, I was pregnant. Like, in that mass, like, God was telling me, like, yeah, you're pregnant.
Yeah, there's
It was so crazy, though, because I'm like, what? Like, this is so insane. And then, like, after that, I think we went straight to Target, right?
yeah, we ran to the store.
And so I was like, I need to
Because we were
know.
on the way to the parks already that day too.
Yeah.
And so
I needed to know right there and then. I was just excited but like nervous. And then I go get the pregnancy test and then I take it right there at Target and I was like, I need to know right now. And since it was Christmas, I was hearing, I'm never gonna forget, like rocking around the Christmas tree. That song was playing in the restroom and I was like, I'm never gonna forget this song. And then right away comes out pregnant and I was like, like
yeah, you passed the
this
test.
is so crazy. And so I come out and I'm like go to the car. I'm telling you, like I did not tell him right there. And then I was like, let's go to the car. Let's go to the car. And like we're going to the car, silent, all the way up to the car. And then I go to the car, and I was like, yeah, no, look at this. It's pregnant. The day I found out I was pregnant. This is a personal vlog. It just came out of Target. I was listening to Christmas music. It came out. I was pregnant. Super pregnant. It's super.
No, yeah. So immediately I'm like, all right, well, looking at the list of things, because on the app of Disneyland, you can go ahead and find out like what rides were mothers who were expecting like not to go on. So you're like, okay, so let's go down the list, da, 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 da. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, we're like just excited. We're like literally excited like for all this news. Of course, you know, the nervous energy, a little like, well, because again, you know, not to say we weren't like. Not to say we weren't prepared, but like
No, we weren't. Like,
because it's there. I want, you know, we've had friends who are like, you know, like are trying to have a baby and like, you know, they succeed. So one prepares health wise and all these things, like, you know, like
no,
and mentally, financially, todo estas
but we
cosas.
weren't. I'll tell you. I'll be honest. We really.
No, because we were thinking of travel and all these other things and like, you
Our
know,
mindset was not there at all.
and so immediately like this like we're like, okay, everything we had planned for the year, like throw it out the window, like and that's okay, like forget the year for like the next 20, 30, 40, like the rest of our lives, like let's think of everything. We were thinking of like, oh my gosh, like the holidays and Christmas, like we were thinking of like the kids' birthdays and like
Yeah.
schools and like all these things that we want to do, like immediately like do homeschool, like blah, blah, like all these conversations that we've had like over the time, like of just being together, of what we would do, like what got brought up on the way to the parks, on the way to Disneyland, like todo esto, like to like just chat it up and be like, okay, well, this is what we're doing, like, you know, doctor's appointments, get everything set up, like how are you feeling, you know, because like at that point Becky was already feeling some of the symptoms, so like
No. I didn't
no,
feel
not
it right.
yet, or my timeline all bit off.
No, not right. Not at the first moment. Like it took a while for the symptoms to kick in, but I did end up getting like a lot of symptoms. But like Eli was saying, that we kind of rewrote our whole entire like life plan to now include our baby, you know. And so we were really looking forward to having the baby, you know.
No, we were
And I was
excited.
like planning the baby shower, the gender reveal. I was like, we don't have the funds for this, but I don't know, but I'm gonna make this happen, you know.
Well,
Like,
it's again because like everything was being prepped to like travel and do all these things, so like it's like in our heads it's like, okay, well, because 9 months seems like a long time, but it's not.
it's
It
not.
happens quickly, and
And so,
so it was like transfer this, do this, you know, like the mindset of like moving everything over of like, okay, well, we're excited and we want to tell everyone, but we can't because we understand it's the first trimesters, and
yeah.
like, you know, we're just
So we
because of like what you've been told by the doctor, we're holding it like a bubble, like just
we decided not to tell anybody. Not a single soul knew. Not his mom, not my parents, not my brother. Nobody. So it was pretty hard keeping that secret. But me and Eli decided, like, on that first day that we weren't going to say anything until the second trimester. And I talk a lot with my mom. I'm really close with my family. So it was really hard not telling our B plus E community and my family, because it's like, you want to say how excited you are.
super
Even like when we went to Christmas, because it was around Christmas time. Christmas time was really hard because like my family likes to cheers and like do all this, and like
the drinky drinks, all that
I'm
stuff.
one for that. So like it was hard to be like, yeah, no, I can't do any of that right now.
Just like
So
pass, you know, like, he's like,
yeah.
no. And
But
then
they
like,
didn't really say anything.
no,
They
because
didn't really say like, oh, like what's going on. I thought they
no,
were, and I had like a like a backup plan of like excuses,
no,
but they
like,
didn't really
it's because our
say.
families know it's like because especially during the holiday times, like we're grinding, we're working a lot, and so
Yeah.
they understand. Oh, like you just want to recoup on like on your exhaustion, you know, like
Mhm.
anything like that. So
Mhm.
made sense, and it's like, you know, have fun, enjoy it.
Yeah, so after Christmas, I made my first appointment. Well, I had made it before, but they didn't have openings.
Right, holidays.
Yeah, so I went into my primary care doctor, which they have 3 doctors in that office, my primary care and 2 other doctors. And I couldn't see my primary care doctor because he has like a 3-month wait, and I honestly can't wait 3
Right,
months.
right.
So I was like, let me just go see the other doctors. And I go in there and they give me the appointment for the OB, and we talk about like what I can eat, what I can't eat, but there wasn't really like a lot of instruction coming from her because like I said, she's not like the main doctor
Oh,
of
right,
that
right.
office.
And for like those that are just like watching, not knowing, like Becky has a gluten intolerance, so like her main doctor like keeps her eating like the healthiest possible.
Which I
Even
don't do that, but I do
right.
in a sense, you
Yeah,
know.
as much as you can. I mean,
Yeah.
again, we're at theme parks a lot, so not the healthiest foods. Plus, like running around, and only when we can like, stay home and like make food. Like, is
Yeah.
it healthy?
The real thing that she told me was take the prenatals, nothing else until you see the OB, and he'll tell you if you need to take anything else. So I was like, okay. And at that point, I was feeling a lot of nausea, like all day. All day, I was feeling a lot of nausea. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this. And then, like, we started Googling what I can eat, what I can't eat. And it was a very strict diet. Very strict. So I was like, okay, like, but it was nice to kind of make that sacrifice for your baby because you want your baby to be the healthiest it can be. So I was totally on board. But what did hit
Oh,
me
right,
was the
right.
no coffee. The no coffee thing was really
So
hard.
brutal.
Yeah, because I'm used to drinking like huge cups of coffee, maybe 2 ventis a day. That's how much coffee. And so
Yeah,
to
it's
cut down out of nowhere, oh my gosh, I
well.
was so tired.
Before you come at her, like in the comments, guys, like there is an amount you're allowed to have, like a daily amount.
I
So
was not drinking that much coffee.
right.
That was before. But like once I got pregnant, like it was just like a cup of Joe every single day. And so I
What
sometimes
was it, like 100 milliliters?
around like 100 to 200, but I wouldn't hit the 200. I would do like 100 because I would do like teas, the
Yeah.
teas you could have. And some days I would go with no caffeine. So it was really brutal. I was like, oh man, I'm getting tired because of that. And now I'm pregnant. I'm getting even more tired. And so after that, we went to Universal Studios because, like we said, we have the other theme park channel.
So we're everywhere.
And so that was the first sign that something was not right because I started spotting there, and I had really bad back pain and cramps. And as the day was progressing, my cramps started getting worse. And I showed Eli like, yo, like I'm spotting. But at that point, we were Googling everything, and sometimes the bleeding is normal, like implantation bleeding, or like as long as it's like 24 hours, like it should be fine. But I didn't have an OB appointment until after the holidays because in between it was going to be New Year's, everything's booked, everything's closed.
Right.
And they specifically told me that the soonest appointment was January 6th. That's the soonest they could get me in. And so I'm waiting, and I told Eli that day that I was pretty nervous about it. And what
Right.
did you think about that?
You know, trying to keep her calm and not to jump to conclusions. We're like, okay, well, as we read like on online and everywhere you could, and like, cross-referencing things, you're like, no, it's gonna be okay. It's just that we monitor 24 hours. Again, trying to be like calm and about the whole thing, and actually the whole like 24 hours happened and it was light. It wasn't
It
like
stopped. It stopped.
Yeah.
And within 24 hours, I timed it to the T. I was writing everything down in my notes. I have everything in my phone. I have
She's
everything
a
in
big
the.
journaling person, so
I have
like it's
everything written down. So I was like, okay, 24 hours. It stopped, and then I was really happy about it. So I was like, okay, well, like I guess it's a normal
sorry,
thing.
chipmunk.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I guess this is something normal.
So it's the holidays, it's all this stuff, and so like we mentioned earlier, like this is designed to be like for fun and like a family channel and all this stuff. So
Well-
like he's like, let's shoot like the announcement video, like, you know, let's you know, do all these like other content items that we want to do, and like, you know, start the chipmunk's up there, right?
Yeah. I'm
Squirrel.
so scared.
Squirrel. I'm sorry.
I
Squirrel.
hope it doesn't like fall on us, because I would scream off the top of my lungs.
It's gonna jump from what?
trying to jump.
gonna
Oh
be-
my gosh! Do not jump. Do not jump. Please do not jump.
Okay, so we're like working on the announcement videos. We're working on like on all this like little like recording like everything leading up to it. You know, just like items and like just recording everything that we can record. So
Well,
that,
it wasn't much at that point because it was really early in the pregnancy. So it was mainly the announcement video, and I was starting to do like a trend where I'm like,
go.
I'm 7 weeks pregnant and I'm about to go to brunch. It was a start of that, and I was getting really excited at that point. Like,
You
that's
both
when
were.
we're just really happy about it, and just like, wow, this is actually happening. Like, we're recording an announcement video right now. I got you something.
Oh, is it our anniversary?
No, it's an I love you gift.
Oh, baby, I love you too. I'm sorry, I didn't get you a gift.
You don't need to give me
No?
a gift. No.
Can I get into it right now?
Yeah, it's yours.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is this? What? Give me a toothbrush? Wait. It's got a plus?
We're pregnant.
We're pregnant.
We're pregnant.
Pregnant? You have a baby?
We're gonna have a baby.
Have a baby?
Congratulations.
Oh, baby. Oh my gosh, what a blessing. Oh my gosh. You're gonna be a mama. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be a dad. Oh my gosh. Did you only take one?
No, I took a bunch.
A bunch. All pluses?
All plus.
Oh, that's a smart baby. Oh my gosh. Baby. Oh.
Wait, I thought you
Congratulations.
were gonna open the rest of them.
Are we having twins?
I don't know that yet. I don't have no idea.
You got a blanket. Oh, my first Rudolph.
I know.
Oh, because the baby's gonna be here for next Christmas.
Next Christmas.
We're gonna have a chubby baby for like presents y todo. So like put them in like in little like cute photos. Oh my gosh. This is cute. I look up to daddy. Oh, we're gonna do a bunch of zoo trips for the baby.
Zoo
Oh,
trips.
this is gonna be so cute.
I thought we were doing Disneyland trips.
No, you won't appreciate the mouse yet.
I know.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna be matching. It's gonna be so cute. Oh, qué lindo. Oh, baby. Felicidades.
Congratulations. This is so wild to
Like,
me.
it's just that, you know, it was real from the moment, like, you know, you shared it with me. But it just, like, everything we were building up and doing, like, kept building layers, like, upon it, you know, just like, oh my gosh, it's getting real, like, oh my gosh, we're excited, like, now we're counting, like, you know, the days and the hours y todo esto, and like, we're just super like thrilled for it. And so, like, you know, we come up to New Year's, which is like for us, like, on the other thing, we like do an annual live stream like for it and do a countdown, and it's a big party, and we usually like, you know, enjoy the drinks and like just like cheers it and like just milestones and
But
all
we
this
didn't
stuff.
do that.
But not this year. This year we're like, no, I was more like, okay, I want you to be warm, I want you to be safe, comfortable shoes, like, you know, take all the breaks you want, whatever. Like, we went no coffee. We were like up to like Lord knows how late the next day, but we were just like enjoying the night, and more importantly, because like no one knew who was watching there with us. Like, they thought they were just hanging out with us, with B plus E fam, and you were actually hanging out with B plus E fam because it was the third one. It was
Plus
the little
one.
one.
Plus one.
The plus one, the little
Yeah.
one. And so
What's crazy about that day is that we had cow onesies, and we just thought it was gonna be fun, like a fun onesie.
party till the cows come home. You know.
Yeah, and then later on, I realized that the cow means fertility and motherhood, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that is so crazy to me. But we had such a great time. I had a lot of fun, and more importantly than having fun, I was grateful. In that day, I felt the most pregnant I have ever felt in my whole entire pregnancy, which was very short-lived because my stomach had already the shape, like the U shape, and you can tell, like, because I was wearing leggings and like a long sleeve thermal, and like you could just so see that I was pregnant when like I had those type of clothes on, because I was wearing loose clothes like during that time so people wouldn't notice, but like that outfit underneath the cow suit, I was like, whoa, huh? I was like, I showed you. I
Yeah,
was like,
you were close.
are you looking at this? I was like,
Yes,
my
yes.
body is transforming. I was just like so shook. And then I was just really grateful. Like during the countdown, I was just like, "Wow, God! Like, thank you! Like, I'm ringing the new year with Eli and the baby, and like, this is gonna be amazing." And I was just so happy, Like, I really was. I was tired. My back was hurting. Like during one part of leading up to the countdown, I was sitting on the floor because I just couldn't anymore. I was like, my back is killing me right now because your body is changing.
No, yeah.
Everything's changing, and like I
We
had
had
that
been there since like early that day too.
and
So
you're tracking the progress like on the app and everything and you're seeing like, oh, your baby's this big, and it's just like, wow, this is incredible.
we're geeking out. We're having a great time. So that day comes to an end, and we're just like, okay, like and what made it tough, as we shared, we've talked about travel, and we last year we got to go to Japan and do all these amazing things, and so everyone in our community is like, oh, like where are you guys going this year? And Becky had already like weeks prior to even the finding out that we were pregnant, we were already planning, the trips that we wanted to do this year,
Yeah,
like places we wanted to visit, and
I wanted to do a baby moon, and so we had that kind of planned out already. And then it was just like imagining and like daydreaming about us having the baby and us doing cosplay with the baby and dressing him up in costumes and
oh,
matching outfits, and like I had this whole entire thing planned,
baby Gomez,
like seriously. And so
that was gonna be our Halloween costume.
my first OB appointment rolls around and it's finally January 6th, and I was nervous. And we're gonna put
Yeah.
some clips into like what the little bit that I vlogged. And I just didn't really know what to expect. I had never been pregnant. This is my first go around, and so I get there. And it was a quick appointment. They put me in and they made me do like a urine test, and I finally found out what it was. It was a pregnancy test. And then they put me in the first room and they're like, okay, wait for the doctor. And it was the quickest appointment ever. That doctor was not the best OB, and he doesn't give patients time and explains things. And I think that affected a lot of my journey because I didn't have the best doctor. So if you're looking for a doctor, make sure you look for the reviews, because afterwards I saw his reviews and it was really bad reviews. And it really made sense why, because it's just like you're not giving any care or compassion. You're just in there and
Yeah, number.
you're just like, go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. But anyways, I didn't know this. I was just going in there optimistic. And then he gives me the ultrasound on my stomach, and then he's like, looking and looking, and he's taking a while, and I'm just praying to God, like, please, Jesus, because of everything that had already happened, like with the primary doctor telling me this. I was praying, like, I felt like I was sweating. I was like, please, Jesus, please, Jesus, please, Jesus, like, I just want to hear something good. And then he's like, okay, can we do an intravaginal ultrasound? And I was like, yeah, go ahead. And then he does the intravaginal, and he's looking and looking and looking, and he tells me that there's no heartbeat, like just straight up. He's like, there's no heartbeat. Come back next week because it might be too soon. Because I had told them the conception date. Since I write everything down, I knew what date it was and everything. And so it didn't click, and I was like, that's so mind blowing. Like, I'm confused. Like, what do you mean it's too early? Because at that point, I was already like, you could already hear the heartbeat based on Google. Like, so I was just like, oh, was it
Right.
not this date then that I was thinking that it was conceived? It's another date, which there was another possible date that was a week away. So I was like, okay, like he didn't give me any red flags. Like he just told me it might be too soon, and I went with that, thinking it might be too soon.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I was nervous about it, of course. I was sad about it, and I told Eli. I was texting Eli the whole time he was at work, and then I called him and everything, and I told him like there's no heartbeat.
Yeah.
If he couldn't find the baby's heartbeat, he said to come back in a week. He said it might be too soon, and he's thinking that maybe the baby was conceived not on November 17th when I thought it was, but at a later date. So hopefully, fingers crossed that we can get a heartbeat next week on Monday. Today's Monday, so I'm coming back next Monday. And yeah, everything was quick. It was fine. It's just that heartbeat thing, it's kind of getting me nervous, but he didn't give me any red flags or anything to be alarmed by. He said he saw the sac, like he's seen, I'm pregnant, but just no heartbeat. Um, I feel pregnant. I feel super pregnant. He asked me if I've been losing weight because of the nausea, and I told him no because I'm still eating. Like, I don't know if you guys know this or not. Probably most of you guys don't. But I've always had like stomach issues, like nausea, and so I'm kind of used to pushing through all of that and still eating. Thankfully, I have not been throwing up. I've just been having lots of nausea all day, every day, especially after I eat. I'm just like, oof, I just don't like how food is tasting right now. I'm craving a lot of sweets, but I'm trying not to eat a lot of sweets because I know that's not good for the baby. I am taking care of myself in that way. I don't know, check in with you guys later. I'm just starting to look at babies' names, so that's very exciting. I'm gonna start to pitch some names to Eli and see what he thinks. I think he told me before he wanted to name our kid Elias, so if he takes first name and be Elias, I'm gonna pick the middle name. So I'm leaning towards something biblical, if not something Star Wars / Disney. But first off, I'm gonna see if I find something biblical or something with a really good meaning and a really nice meaning, because this baby, honestly, I feel like crying. I feel like it's a miracle. It's a miracle that I'm even pregnant because, I had so many like things happen to me, like where the universe was telling me like you're not gonna get pregnant ever, and so I literally thought I could not get pregnant. So this was out of the nowhere, and I just feel like it's crazy to me that I'm even pregnant. Sometimes I can't even believe it, and but I do feel the symptoms, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I definitely am pregnant. And so I'm just happy to share this journey with you guys.
I remember having that conversation with you. I'm like, okay, maybe we are off. Maybe our count is off, and if that is that's okay. Like that it's just a week. It's okay. You're still.
You learn to be hopeful. Like I've always had that mentality of like never give up, never lose hope until like okay, it is set in stone, like that's it. There's no more hope. So I was pretty hopeful still. Like
Yeah.
okay, a week, like fine, I'll come back in a week.
Yeah, we're like, okay, but then like you said, it was in the realm of possibility. So like it's like, okay, no worries. And so, we're, oh man, that was the longest week.
Mm-hmm.
That was the longest week. We're like, okay, we're hopeful. In the midst of all this, we're so like, thinking of like, you know, all the possibilities, all the positive future. I'm trying to figure out what food cravings my wife has. She doesn't do pickles. I'm still trying to see if she'll eat a pickle, like type of thing. Just enjoying the moments of it, the her feeling tired and kind of just like making sure she's okay. And then little
So
did we know that week was like just
the
gonna.
start of a crazy nightmare. I
Yeah.
will say it straight up like that because it feels like it was a nightmare, guys. Like there's nothing easy about this. At least my experience was not easy. Everyone is different and that's okay, but like this was one of the hardest things I feel like I've had to experience. And so that Thursday, my appointment was on Monday, and that Thursday night I started spotting again with cramping. I started spotting bright red, and I told Eli like, "Hey, I'm starting to spot again." Um and I started getting really worried at that point because I had noticed that my pregnancy symptoms were starting to go away. So I came into the room and I almost had like a mini panic attack as soon as I saw that, and everything else started clicking. And I was like, babe, like, I don't have a lot of nausea anymore. My stomach started to look like a regular stomach. It didn't have like that shape anymore. And I was like telling him, like, look at my stomach. And like I'm telling him all these things, and then I'm like breaking down, I'm crying, and Eli's like, no, like calm down. He was trying to keep me at peace. And
Right, because like, again, didn't want to jump to conclusions or anything, and I'm sure many of you are like, oh, a woman knows a women's intuition, and you guys are probably all right in regards to that. No, you guys are right, but like the reality is, I'm just trying to make sure she's calm, and I'm like, okay, some days are good, some days are not good. I've heard from friends and family, when they're pregnant, like, oh, it's not just this day, and the other day I was fine, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay,
mm-hmm.
maybe that's the case, and I was like, okay, well maybe we had to have dinner. I was like, trying to find like anything to like reason like why the baby bump wasn't looking like the baby bump, like just anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And so, like,
I did calm down eventually. We go to sleep because I was really late at night. And then I was like, okay, so let me see if it lasts 24 hours, like supposedly me. I was spotting from that Thursday. It continued on Friday, and I was just like crying. I was distraught. And on Saturday, I told Eli, hey, let's go to the mall. Like, I kind of want to walk around and see how I feel. Like, because at that point, we had stopped live streaming because I was just like distraught at that point. I felt like I couldn't just go on and to Disneyland and do that part of my life. And so we're walking around the mall, and I still have hope. And so it was so crazy that that it's so silly to think, but we went to Victoria's Secrets because I was like, oh well, like I'm gonna need like a bigger size, you know, because I'm pregnant. Like that happens. But then I went to the restroom, and I'm like seeing how much I'm spotting, and it's dark red. From bright red on Thursday to dark red is such a drastic change that I knew like alarms were going off in my head. And then I'm crying, and I'm like, never mind, dude, like I don't even want to shop anymore. And by the time we finished walking around the whole mall, I was so done. I was like, my back was hurting, I was cramping up a lot, and I was just like, I need to go home. Like that, this is like too much for me.
No, yeah. The following day, actually that night going home, I get the text and call from my mom that my uncle passed away. And so, to my mom, I'm like, I'm sorry to hear that. I'll hit up my cousins and let them know. And she's all, can you do me a favor and like, can we go say like, can we go see your auntie and tell her sorry for the loss and like be there with the family. And I'm like, yeah. When are they gonna be there? And they're like, oh, they're at the hospital tonight, but they're all gonna be there on Sunday. So we're like, okay, let's go over Sunday. We went over Sunday with family, and like we're running into everyone that I haven't seen in decades. And just being there with family and sharing the loss. He's like the second person in like on my dad's side to pass away. My dad being the first out of like 9. So like it was just hard, and we're talking about like how just the grieving, because they're I didn't know, like I didn't know that they were still grieving like my dad's loss, because it's been a few years since my dad passed away, but they were still going through it because just they were close to my dad. And the grieving process for how I went through my dad was very different because it was something I was expecting. He was on dialysis for a long time, and his health wasn't good, and just a lot of things that just kind of like you make peace, and you enjoy the conversations when I was able to have the conversations with them. But with my uncle, just like it was a hard loss. And so I remember being there, just like okay, seeing them with their kids and all this. And I was like, well, tell some Becky, I'm like, because we were still having those like crazy like thoughts of like, oh my gosh, what's going on? But like maybe it's not bad news. Like I just didn't want to think the worst just yet.
Right. I feel like it's hard to process when you're going through it. Even now, I still can't process everything that happened and is currently happening. And so that day that we went to church on that Sunday, I was praying. I was on my knees, and I was crying to the Lord, like, please let it be anything else but I just want my baby,
Yeah.
And so, and it was hard because I'm feeling like I'm spotting while I'm praying, and it was such a hard moment. I was like, this is so difficult. And then once we got home after Eli's uncle visit and then all that, Eli's like, I'm telling Eli, like, tomorrow's my appointment. Are you gonna go to work?
And I was like, no, I'll take the day off. I called off sick. It's my busy season. I'm working normally, like it's like a no, but I'm never sick at work. So like using that excuse was like enough of my work to be like, no, especially because they're germaphobes. So they're like, no. Which is perfect. I got to go. I got to see what Becky was talking about in regards to the doctor's mannerism and all this stuff. It just reminded me why like I walked away from like healthcare all those years ago. Like just ugh. But
So Monday rolls around, and it's a early appointment. So thankfully, and I was just eager to go there to talk about what was going on. Alright guys, so we are back at the OBGYN. This is to see the heartbeat of the baby. Hopefully they can find it.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
I brought Eli for good luck, for good measure.
I'm good luck?
Yeah.
Feel honored.
So we're just waiting for the doctor, and hopefully we can not be worried, because it's been so worrisome.
It's been very nerve-wracking. I mean, there's a lot. Just for heads up, we're dealing with the fires. We just had the loss of a loved one recently. It's 2 losses of loved ones. They're days apart. And in the midst of all the stress,
Well,
you had 1 visit already.
Yeah.
And it was early, so our timeline is a little bit off.
Well, here's the thing. I've been spotting since Thursday night, so that's very worrisome. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and today's Monday. So we'll see what the doctor says about that.
Yeah.
We're both in the room, and then the doctor's like, oh, how are you feeling? And I'm telling him I've been spotting since Thursday, and he was like, I don't like the sound of that, but I'll take a look. So he does the vaginal ultrasound, and my heart just sank, because he was just looking and looking, and then he tells us I can't find a heartbeat, and I was just distraught. I felt like I was getting drowned in the ocean. And he tells us I'm gonna have you go do blood work, and then we're gonna have you do another ultrasound out of the office, that way they can get a clearer picture. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. And it gave me a little bit of hope, and I was like, okay, let's go do that. After that, we went straight to go get the blood work done, and then we go home, and that night I started getting more cramps, and bigger blood clots. They weren't super crazy, but I knew that I was having a miscarriage. And so, because it was just increasing, the days were going by and everything was just getting worse. And so I call the office and I'm telling them, hey, I'm fairly certain that I'm having a miscarriage. I don't know what to do. And then she told me, can you come back tomorrow? And I tell them, yes, I can come back tomorrow. So now it's the next day. That morning, I get that my blood work came back and my HCG level was at 2,400. And I looked to reference how many weeks I was at and what my range needed to be for that. And it was lower than what it was supposed to be. So in my head, everything just kept telling me that, yes, you are having a miscarriage. And so I go into the OBs that morning, and I was just so down. I didn't even want to go. I was dreading that appointment. And I told the OB what was going on. And again, it was the quickest office appointment in my whole entire life. Sat down, maybe 5 minutes. I was with the doctor. And I told him, look, I'm fairly certain that I am having a miscarriage. I'm passing blood clots. And he told me, okay, since you're only 9 weeks pregnant, you're going to be passing it naturally. And he did say something about the DNC, but he didn't really explain anything to me. And so I'm thinking that I'm coming back to get a DNC, because there was no explanation. He just started saying because I told him, okay, is that all? I don't know. I'm just in there trying to get information. And so that really freaked me out, that after I looked up what the DNC was, I was just oh my gosh, please no, God, please no. And so I asked him if I still needed the other out of office ultrasound, and he told me no, I don't. And so that was it. I go home. That morning at 1 a.m., I started with the contraction pains, really, really bad. And so I couldn't sleep at all. And then Eli had to go to work really early, and I'm telling him I have so much pain. And then he's worried, but of course he has to go to work, because what else he can't just stay home all these days, And so it started getting worse and worse and worse. And I just praying to God, and I was meditating, and I was trying to talk myself down. I was okay, pain is only temporary. This will pass. This will pass. And it was just so hard. It was really painful. After I passed the sack at home, that's when I started gushing out, and I called my mom, and she doesn't even know I'm pregnant, and I just needed to go to the hospital at that point because that's what I read online. And so my mom's like, what? Like, it's hard for her to even understand what I'm telling her. She doesn't know I'm pregnant, and now I'm telling her that I'm having a miscarriage and I need to go to the hospital. Like, come get me. And it felt like an eternity for her to get there. But it's not that she took a long time. It's that in those moments, I felt like I just couldn't, like, I need help right now. And so she gets there. She takes me to the hospital, and the hospital was so nice. The staff were angels. Like, I had the blood work person, the ultrasound tech, and the main doctor that was treating me, all angels. Like, the compassion that I did not get at my OBs, I was getting there. And I was in total shock. I felt like I was disassociating myself from that situation, just like get through it. And even now, like talking about it, I feel like I try to disassociate myself because I feel like I don't even know like how to process all this, you know? And so like it was a really hard moment because it's like, damn, like how this sucks. Like I don't want to lose my baby, and it's happening and nobody can do anything about it. Like once the process starts, that's it, you know? And so they took my blood work and my HCG levels were at 900. So we're comparing it with the doctor, and he's telling me like it's a non-viable pregnancy. You are having miscarriage. He made it like super clear like that's what was going on, but I already knew, so it wasn't like a shock to me at that point. And then I did the ultrasound, and it was a horrible experience. It was just horrible, like, because they had to go like the intravaginal, and just like I can't even talk about how bad it was because I just don't want to talk about how horrible that was. But it wasn't them. It was just like the process of everything that was happening while doing that was horrible. They told me that there was like a bit of like sac still in there. It was deformed. So I was like, okay, like that's not something I want to hear. And I got there around noon, and by like 5:36 my cramping had lessened, and like those tests were done, and I was able to go home. And but before then they did do another like, I don't even know what procedure it was. It was just like a whole bunch of procedures and trying to see if there was other like blood clots they can take out so they can help me, and they did that. And then my dad is also like in shock because my mom called him when I was at the hospital, and for 1 second he was like so happy that he heard like, oh, like, you know, Becky's pregnant, and then it follows up with that bad news. It's just like really hard. It's like I don't want to say like the bad news. Like
You
I
know,
wanted them to be like happy and surprised, you know?
no, yeah, I guess, we were holding like a bubble and just like hoping for the best, and just like everything. And so for it to go the way it did, like it's just it's gut wrenching.
And like I'm texting Eli every single thing, you know, like what's going on, but like I only know what's going on.
Right.
Like I only know what I was going through, you know, like me and God, and that's it. And it was just like really hard.
I'm grateful to your mom, because your mom, like, I'm like an hour away from from Becky, like from our home, like when I'm at work, and Becky's mom would be there. But I know that like it's different. It's how your mom trying to process everything, and like you trying to process what you're going through, and it's yeah, it's just that.
And then the days leading after that, like I still am, but like I was just so distraught. I was mad. I was frustrated. I was angry. Like I was crying. I was sobbing. I was wailing. I was everything. Like after
You're
that,
grieving. You've been grieving.
I've been grieving, but it was just like it's not like something that's so like easy. Like I feel like not a lot of people talk about how hard it is, but it's like that's like one of the worst pains, but like that like a mother doesn't get to hold her baby, you know? And I can't even imagine going through this multiple times, you know, and my heart goes out to all the ladies or that have experienced this more than once. Like, I can't imagine. I really can't.
You know that, like, yeah, we're grieving this. You know, this was not, of all the things that we were planning and envisioning. Like, this wasn't on like the of things of the outcome. I mean, like we said, yeah, we knew enough. Like, it's the first trimester, hold it close. You know, but we never thought of like the worst possibility. Like, we thought of like, you know, whatever that may be. Like, we'll ride it through. Well, you know, we are expecting a full baby be here. It was, by timing wise, it would have been another Virgo, which would have been great. You
No,
know,
actually, it would have been Leo.
oh, still, it would have been my a birthday present
It
to
would have
me.
been an August baby. But I will say this, that it did put a little bit of it did put a strain in our relationship because it's such a hard thing to go through and everyone grieves differently, and I'm like lashing out in anger and anguish and all these. I feel like I'm drowning in my emotions, and then it's just a lot of friction,
It's okay. It's
and I
okay.
truly understand why there is some people that divorce after a miscarriage, because it's just not easy.
It's
Not
okay.
that me and you are going to, but like
No,
I
but
understand
you're
it in another.
processing differently.
Yeah,
You know, it our baby is real to us.
it's not
Becky
just like a whole bunch of cells or a fertilized egg. Like it was our
Beck,
baby.
Becky got to experience a small window of motherhood. And for myself, like I said, you know, everything changed like the minute like she shared the news with me. And you know, we're excited, and like, you know, we're thinking of the new timeline, and like, you know, all these wonderful things and all these dreams, and like just changing it up. And like we said, like, we're people who plan and like have the whole year, 2 years, 3 years, like lined up, like, of what we want to do and everything. Like, it's already written out. And so when like this news came, like, we felt robbed. We felt, um
Like I wish I was still pregnant. I'm still tracking it. Like if I was, it's just like every single day. I just wish like I could just wake up and like I'd be pregnant again, you know. And it's such a sad thing. I am grateful to God that I did get to experience it at least for a bit. It was like amazing for me. Like I just didn't think that I would be able to do that, and it was just like even though I had nausea and all these other symptoms, I liked it. You know, I liked being
no,
pregnant.
yeah, it's because you're creating life. And you know, the short-lived, however it was, like, there was beauty in it, and we were excited. And you know, it's, we don't understand why, and that's okay. It's not our plan or our place to like understand why. All we can do is pray that hopefully, you know, we're blessed in due time, and if it's meant for us to have. And I think you'd be a great mom, and it'd be wonderful.
We
You
did.
know, it sucked on my part, like I said, because like I envision a timeline. I'm thinking all these things, like I want, you know, I never shied away from wanting to be a dad, or
Oh yeah,
like I
no,
said, you know, I've
no.
never wanted to put that pressure on you either, because I understand your health. And so, you know,
Yeah,
it's just,
we
it,
did name our baby. Our
we did.
baby, Enoch, and Enoch means taken by God.
Becky was for sure certain that it was going to be a baby boy. I was like, what if it's a girl? I'm all, you know, I might possess the strength to raise a little one, because I think it takes a really strong man to go ahead and
But
be a daddy's
I'm
girl. But
pretty sure it was a boy because
Becky's
I had like visions from God that it was a boy, and so like I knew in my head before I was even pregnant, like I had these visions of me having a baby boy, and so like just like I feel like I know, you know, and I'm fairly certain it was a boy. And then there was other signs that led me to believe that it was boy when I asked God for signs. We just hope that like one day I'll get to meet him up in heaven. I'll get to hold him finally and just be with
saying
him forever.
saying it's been hard, you know, not being able to, because like, there's still a physical like strain on your body, as not only you're grieving, but now you're like your body's preparing to heal. Because if you just don't happen to have it, and then you start healing like the next day, it takes a while for you to finish
It's
having
a
the miscarriage, and
process.
then the
It's a
healing. Yeah.
process.
So, you know, we've been trying to get out and like just not be at home, because we did the stay home part for a minute or two, where it's just like there's only so long you can grieve at home, and that's kind of why we're out here, trying to get some sun, some vitamin D, some sun in our lives, get out. We still haven't been back to theme parks, which hopefully we can go back once you're feeling comfortable. But I don't
It's
even
just
know,
been
just
art.
to enjoy.
It's been daunting though, because it's like I still am feeling so many type of ways, and so it's just been hard for me to be like, yeah, let's go to Disneyland.
It's hard in the sense of like, let's go have that type of fun, because we're not there mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, being able to just, I know we've made some vlogs like on the other channel and make some content here and there, but it's moments and small windows where you feel okay. And because we create content, and we enjoy doing being creative, and spending time with each other like that, it does come out in bursts. We're like, yeah, let's do all these little things, and then we'll plan to do stuff, and then of course, grief will hit us, and we can't,
Yeah, like
we physically
mentally.
can, mentally we can, and
So
so,
yeah, I'll just start
and
randomly crying, or like, and
that's
that's not
okay.
just like tears like this. It's like full
Sobbing,
on like
wailing,
I can't get out of bed right now. Like I physically cannot. And
but
I just wanna say to everyone, and especially if there's anyone watching that's going through something like this or something similar, or somebody, just give yourself time. Give yourself patience, and you're not alone. Even though you do feel like you're alone, 'cause there's times where I'm like, it doesn't feel like there's you just feel alone, even though you know that that's not true. There's a lot. Unfortunately, every 1 in 3 pregnancies end in a miscarriage. So that's there, and it's just like, if you ever need to reach out to somebody, then you can go ahead and message us on Instagram, on all our social media platforms, and then we can talk about it. I just feel like it's different when you can talk to this about with somebody that's gone through it. And
yeah.
I just feel like I would just didn't even know what this whole entire process entailed, and it's been very eye-opening for sure. And I
Oh,
feel like I can understand even my friend that went through it. Like, you can't really fully understand until you go through something, and now I'm just like, wow, like I can't believe that you went through this.
no, yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is that, it's we've had friends and loved ones go through it, and so, you try to be as sympathetic as possible, and
Right.
be there for them. But you're right, you don't understand it full circle till you go through something like this, and it's rough, and there's hope, and you will smile, and you will have better days. It's just, like
Yeah.
anything, it's time to grieve and time to heal, and
Mm-hmm.
you know be patient with one another and love one another, and you know
Yeah, and especially if you're a spouse, like definitely be patient with the other person, because it's just really hard. And this channel was actually going to be dedicated to baby Enoch, because it was going to be like my pregnancy journey and having him grow up, and all these milestones
it was
were
gonna be
going
the
to be
family
hit
channel, yes.
here. But we're going to keep it alive still in honor of baby Enoch, and just see where this channel goes. It's going to be more personal, and maybe I'll talk about more of my medical issues, because that's a whole entire other book. That's a whole entire other story. And hopefully we can share our experiences and help each other out and learn and grow from each other's experiences. And I honestly don't know if God will grant us another baby or not, but I'm hopeful that one day, our rainbow baby will come, and me and Eli will be parents one day, and that would be amazing. And if not, like, that's also fine. Whatever God says, and I'm open to that. And I still love God, and I still believe in God, and I'm still hopeful, even though like it is a hard journey. I know that at the end, like there's still light. There's still gonna be light at the end.
Yeah. No, it's just, it's the emotions. Allow yourselves to feel them. Like Becky said, we all
Mm-hmm.
grieve differently. Because we've been on different stages of grief. Or some days I'll be grieving, differently from her than then vice versa. As a guy, we tend to be lost in our heads. We're more silent, or
Hmm.
we're angry, or like we don't process as well, or you have one fleeting moment of joy, but then you feel guilty. Like just it's all these things that you just allow yourself to grieve and be there with one another.
Hmm.
Pray more. You're gonna be you're gonna sleep more. One of the things that hit me the hardest was just like, yeah, I get home and I'm a person who normally has a good amount of energy, and I've just been drained. Just like Becky will be like talking to me, and she's like, "Oh, let's do this or work on this," and then she'll turn around and I'm like out, and I'm not one to take naps. I'm not like that type of folk, and like I'll be out, and she's like, "I couldn't wake you up. Like you were out. Like, are you tired?" And I'm like, "I don't feel tired," but again, the body and the mind is
Mentally.
processing different and stuff that you've never gone through,
Mm.
or maybe you have gone through it, you're going through it again, and this is what it
Mm.
is. Maybe you didn't analyze it, because sometimes as gentlemen we don't do that. We
Mm.
don't. We power through, and
Hmm.
you should grieve. You should allow that
Yeah,
time so that you
no,
heal
it's
yourself.
important. It's
Yeah.
really important to feel your feelings because it's like at the end of the day, you can trap those feelings and it's gonna harm you. You're gonna get stress on your body that might develop in other diseases, and you might take it out on somebody else. And it's just like just feel it out.
Yeah.
Feel it out is the best way. Well, thank you guys so much for, listening to our story. If you have any questions, like I said in the comments, we might make follow-up videos if there's a lot of questions. And then I'll let you guys know how I'm doing. I already had my last OB appointment and he told me like that's it. But I am gonna go back to my primary doctor because I have like other symptoms that I don't know if they're normal. Hopefully they can clear it up and say like that's normal.
Hmm.
And yeah,
And
we'll just be vlogging our journey here.
well, we're also going to be focusing on our health, so that if the opportunity comes again, we'll be in a healthier state and go from there.
Yeah, our
Well,
doctors told us like you need to be on tip top shape, so we're hopefully gonna make those little changes where we are like physically and mentally healthy. And yeah, thank you guys.
all right, guys. Chat with you guys later. Bye.